Hello, hello, hello. So, what is the most important thing? I want to say that the most important thing right now is not to lose your mind. And the easiest way to lose your mind is to watch the media. Um, Studies say this, but I have personal experience. I'm going to share with you a story. 2 weeks before the 2016 election, I got so sick. What is the media ultimately? It's like some babushka on a street corner that has nothing better to do with her life, and she's a gossiper. So whoever comes by, she says the latest gossip. Now, often there's not much to say, so she just, if she's getting paid to stand there, so she has to say the same thing. I spoke to a guy who was in the editing department for CNN. He says, and this is very important to understand, a newscaster is an actor. He's not saying his own words. He is reading scripts. He's totally paid to do what he does, and he does it so well that you think that he thinks what he's saying is true. The same guy could be hired by the exact opposite company, and you would think the same exact thing in the opposite way. But what are they actually saying? It only has one thing that they're doing. It's negativity. I was on the plane once, and there was a young man, and unfortunately, it's messing up young people. And um, he said, "Oh, the world is such a bad place." So this guy, an older guy, says to him, "It's because you watch the media." He said a very interesting thing. He says, "I watch the media from all over the world." He says the Western media is all negative. China, it's all positive. Everything's good because a communist state. They want people to be happy. They want people to trust the state. The point is, you have to get into good media. There's a story called God Made the World, and we're heading towards Mashiach, and every good deed we do brings light and it banishes the darkness. And we are right before the final battle, I shouldn't say battle, the final revelation of the light. So darkness is a real entity. These are real negative forces. They're doing everything possible to convince us to be hateful, to be spiteful, to have negative sexual relations. But if you can overcome it, and this lady taught me, this is amazing. I'm so grateful that I learned this yesterday. An amazing, amazing technique. Whenever we have a desire, we create a negative angel that lives within us. And it gets its sustenance, its existence from when we repeat that desire. So its interest is for you to do it again. And if you're Jewish, you have a very holy soul, that's when they get the most energy. So you have to take responsibility that every desire you have is one that God wants you to have. Because if God wants you to have, you're bringing Mashiach not only for yourself, for the past, the present, the future, everyone that existed. There will be a resurrection of the dead. The whole world is in your hands. The future of humanity depends on you right now. And so, the way you kill the negative is you have to loathe, you have to hate that desire. For example, in addiction, I dealt with a lot of addicts. When do addicts change? When they want to change. They call it hitting rock bottom. What does hitting rock bottom psychologically mean? Was yesterday the guy wanted to be an addict. Sure, there's a part of him that doesn't, but the part of him that does is stronger than the part that doesn't. Today, when the guy wakes up and he's eating out of a garbage can, the humiliation is greater than the pleasure of the addiction. So this new desire overpowers the old desire and eliminates it. It kills the old desire. My friends, you have the power to kill these creatures that you yourself created. And don't think that they're not real. They're very real. They're malicious. And not only that, when we go up to heaven, God forbid, Mashiach will be here, we'll live forever. But if we get to heaven and we do not kill them, then they kill us because they're malicious and they're like it says, the Satan is the angel of death and he's the prosecutor, he's the torturer. They are pure evil. And they will, as long as you're alive, they get energy when you sin again. Deviant sexual behavior, anger, any of these things, you feed them. But when you get to heaven, and we have enough people that have come back, they had near-death experiences, they say everything you did wrong. You created them. And then they will be the ones to torture you. Why do you have to get tortured? Because you have to get rid of that desire. That desire itself is the problem. The problem is really not outside of you. The problem is inside of you. Because in this world, if you chose a different desire, you didn't have that desire, you wouldn't even go there. So this is a very critical thing. How do you get rid of the desire? You don't have to hit rock bottom. You can loathe, you can hate the desire itself. You say that desire, let's say for lust, like it's brought down in time. You can imagine a woman filled with excrement. You create a disgust as opposed to a lust. So you can kill the desire. Obviously, within proper context, the relationship is holy and sacred. But without that, it's evil. And so therefore you kill that desire. But there's one other thing that you have to do, and this is very interesting. You see, when you create a desire, you also not only manifest this spirit, but you manifest that spirit also has some form of a body. You have to kill its body as well. And that's why we have in the mitzvah, it's called tshuva. What is tshuva? Not tshuva, vidui dvarim. You have to say the words. You have to say to God, I am sorry that I lusted. And when you do that, you destroy all the vestige, the soul you destroyed from hating the desire, and then the body you destroy because you said the words. The words are a physical action. And so it takes a sword, it takes a physical action. In fact, we know, even though kind of wasteful seminal emission is the greatest sin, but the reason it's not considered a sin in the Torah, or the Torah doesn't speak about it as one of the 365 prohibitions, because if you say Shema at night and you concentrate on the words, that slays all these demons. So this is a very real thing. We have been given a power by God to create. We don't realize this. We think we're just like, oh, I'm just thinking, I'm just desiring, it's all within me. It's not within you. You're creating entities in the universe. And these entities then seek to propagate. And so we have to be creating positive intentions. Our desire has to be for the love of God, the love of our fellow man, the love of Torah mitzvahs. That's where our desire lies. And when you do that, you manifest God in this world. You manifest the light. So this is a very brief, but very, very powerful thing. If you have any addiction, you can do exactly what I'm saying. Go into the desire, hate the desire, say to God, I'm sorry for having this and this desire. You'll see. In fact, when this lady told this to me yesterday, I immediately went through 6 or 7 different issues. You know, we all have something in the past. Someone said something of this and that. And it brought me back to my soul. Because your soul is pure. Nobody's born with anger or lust. We're all pure. But these things get attached to us. And therefore, we have the capacity to detach them in this mechanism, to bring within ourselves in a conscious way God into this world, and forever we will live with God and with love forever and ever. And really, this is the call of the hour. Do not get distracted. Do not fall into these political traps, these stupid political identities where you're just being used so somebody else can get elected. Now, that's not to say that I don't have strong feelings about it, but what can I practically do? Let's be honest, and I've been quite involved actually. Right now, there's only one thing I can do. I can slay the negative in me, and I can add the positive in me, and that will create a better world.